You hear nothing else from psychological lectures or read in self-help articles, but letting go, forgiveness, so-called forgetting, etc., moving on. In everyday terms, not caring, taking a pill, and the like. It's no coincidence that this is repeated so often. The Hungarian people are not a people who let go. Hungarians are a group that nurtures their grievances for a long time. This is our traditional disposition. This is precisely why Hungarians are a persistent people. Let's notice the other side of the coin, what not letting go is about. About perseverance. About having a goal or a feeling that I stick to, even if it kills me. Why did they fear the arrows of the Hungarians? Not only because the Hungarians were skilled, but because they were persistent, despite their small numbers. The small numbers, the initial small quantity, don't really matter. See, 300? If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the movie titled 300. Today's discussion is neither historical nor political, but psychological. So I'll quickly steer back to the waters of psychology. I find this obsession with letting go, which we read and hear about everywhere, extremely dangerous. Because when you learn to let go, to give up negative feelings, your brain can't always handle this correctly. And you end up giving up and letting go of things you shouldn't. Would you have thought? A large part of our lives is controlled by our subconscious. We don't live consciously. Rather, we operate in a sort of biorobot mode, doing many things, spontaneously, instinctively, from habit or routine. And all of these are driven by the subconscious. Some subconscious-focused approaches suggest that 95% of our thinking, actions, deeds, and habits originate from the subconscious, and only 5% are conscious. Well, I don't know how they calculated this. I feel it's an exaggeration. But it's certain that the role of the subconscious is enormous and overwhelming. That is, how we consciously decide eventually sinks into the subconscious, or even immediately. For instance, under many influences, things can instantly go into the subconscious. In other situations, a certain number of repetitions is needed, either intentionally or due to the course of events. But the point is, if you get used to letting go, forgiving, being lenient, imagine the subconscious cannot weigh this, and you let go. You become lenient with other things as well. For example, your own mistakes, your illness, or your sexual dysfunction. Do you notice where you have erectile dysfunction? We let this go. You notice that your partner once again doesn't have an orgasm. It's okay. It's not important. You don't need to take it seriously. Or on the contrary, you start to fight, you embark on a path with the help of sex therapy, self-therapy, a sexologist, which is what I also do. And you realize that, well, you don't feel like doing it after all. Maybe it's harder than you thought. And you let it all go. You stop. You stand up and say, never mind. It's not necessary. This is too difficult. Martina makes so many mistakes. What is this? A military training camp? No. I already dodged the military. I'll dodge this too. But the truth is, you won't actually dodge it. However, besides the fact that your problems at least stagnate, I guarantee they will worsen. Because, as time passes, things, at least sexual disorders, do not resolve on their own. So you need to actively intervene. I'll give an example of this in a moment. Besides, I'll give the example now. Many people think it's not a problem if they have premature ejaculation, that it will go away as they get older. Then they are surprised when they realize it hasn't gone away. Because despite what all these sexual education books say, that it stems from youthful fervor and will gradually calm down. No? So when a 62-year-old man still has premature ejaculation, a 75-year-old man approaches me saying he still loves sex, but it's still premature. By now, he would like to enjoy it properly. But he can't, because he finishes in a few minutes. And thus, he has never experienced what sexual pleasure truly is in his entire life. He only got, seconds of it. So I have to say that it's not at all certain that premature ejaculation will naturally transform over time into a normal duration, sustained ejaculation. Or rather, a sustained erection which ends with ejaculation. Persistent, sustained, I use these words again. I'm talking about perseverance. When you want to be persistent, you have to forget these ideologies like letting go, not caring, pills, giving up, moving past something, right? Letting go, yes, in the sense that you don't dwell on having some sexual problem, but you do everything to prevent it. Now, this is the right awareness of illness. This is the right attitude towards any kind of illness in life or sexual disorder. That you acknowledge what your situation is. You do everything to get better. You try not to dwell on it. You can let go of this part. Thus, you are not constantly worrying. What will happen? Will I get better? If not, you simply keep going, moving forward on the path. And you don't give up. But if you bombard your soul, your mind, with letting go, letting go, letting go, then it will extend to other areas of life as well. And you will more easily give up things, dreams, goals, because you have already learned that you have to let go of everything. But no, you don't have to let go of everything. Now you might interject if this material were interactive, but it's not, that you will just select. You let go of the bad things and keep the good things. Well, that won't work because the subconscious is incapable of selection. The conscious mind is capable, of course, we can decide, choose between good and bad, positive and negative, dark blue and light blue, black and white, us, but the subconscious cannot. The subconscious is somewhat, so to speak, well, I don't want to offend it. Really, far be it from me, as the subconscious respects us immensely. But from this perspective, it is overly accepting. You could say a bit naive. So it cannot judge what is good and what is not good. And it cannot judge whether what you have now mastered, what you consider your own, or perhaps what you have always been, is okay in situation A, but very much not okay in situation B. There are characters, there are personalities, and as I started today here, about what Hungarians are like, the good news is that Hungarians are fundamentally persistent. Fundamentally, it is a combative and fighting nation, as it has had numerous conflicts with others throughout history. And we all carry this disposition in our genes and in our collective subconscious. Every single Hungarian person can connect to this. We are deep-feeling individuals, capable of being deeply hurt, and precisely because of this, since we are capable of deep feelings, even in a negative sense, such as resentment, grudging anger, and hostilities that span decades. This means that we are also capable of the opposite, the positive side, such as struggling, fighting, resisting, contradicting, renouncing, and self-discipline over decades. But obviously, sexual therapy usually doesn't last for decades. In any case, I wanted to model on a large scale that our heritage is a huge advantage. And we don't want to destroy this with the Far Eastern Buddhist ideology, which is otherwise alien to our way of life, that we should let go of everything. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Buddhism. In fact, certain elements, related elements based on these, I have also incorporated into sexual therapy, but I had to emphasize that this obsession with letting go can indeed be harmful. So, let go only with reason. Be persistent in your sexual therapy, in your self-therapy. Carry through what you have started, or you are capable of it. If for no other reason than because your ancestors were capable of it. And we all descend from them too, of course, because the Hungarian people are mixed. But anyway, the point is that this potential is within all of us. So, the Hungarian is capable of depth, capable of deep emotions, capable of retention, capable of perseverance. Keep this in mind when you feel like giving up the self-therapy you are currently doing. Martina Samaria, a sexologist.